No, it's okay. Okay, I have another question for you. Uh, don't call me during a podcast. Okay, what? Hey, everybody, and welcome to Hashtag Afterlife. I'm your host, John Rosenfeld. Today's guest is the lovely Miranda Rae Mayo. You may know her as Stella Kidd on Chicago Fire, part of Dick Wolf's Powerhouse franchise. She's been on the show since 2016 and has also appeared in Pretty Little Liars, Blood and Oil, True Detective, and more. I've been lucky to know Miranda since 2011 when we first worked together. Even then, she stood out, completely genuine, grounded, and committed. That authenticity has carried her beautifully through this journey. In our conversation, she's funny, wise, and has a fantastic perspective on growing both as an actor and as a human while being part of a long-running series. I love this one. I think you will too. Please welcome Miranda. Here we go. I'm very excited. We're doing this again. I'm sitting here with you, Miranda. What a joy. This is amazing. Where are you right now? Are you in your living room?
I am in my living room in Chicago. Yeah, I'm really happy to be sitting in front of you. I've been watching a lot of your videos on Instagram lately that have been helping me with my own work. So I'm happy to be sitting with you.
Oh, that's really lovely to hear.
Mhm.
The whole reason I started doing the videos initially, well, obviously it's marketing for the studio, but that's not why I started. I was like, really, all of it was out of, I needed a creative outlet,
Mm. Mhm.
just something to stimulate me.
Yeah,
And
sure.
but like, I think it was like, we really started going deep during the pandemic.
Sure.
That's when it started. And it was like, well, let's do something,
Yeah.
you know? But anyway, wow, what a journey. I'm really happy for you.
Thank
I'm
you.
really happy for you. This is let's just start with the fact that you you got the big whale. You know what I mean? You got the big whale. Like, here we are. It's 10 years, right? 10 years, is
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah.
10
Yeah.
years. What year did you actually book the what year did you film your first episode?
2016.
2016.
It's so wild.
Holy
Hannah.
Hannah. Holy Hannah.
I
10 years on a Dick Wolf show. It's so impressive, but, like, that's where we are now.
mm,
But, talking about that journey, I'm gonna tell you what what my experience of you was. Can I
please.
tell you what my experience was? And then you come back at me with what your experience was.
Okay, great.
Cool?
Yeah.
I remember you came to me,
Mhm.
uh, many, 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 many years ago.
Mhm.
You were a baby. I mean, really, how old were
I
you? I think, it was
I
like
I had to have been
20?
23,
Wait, wait.
20. No, you're right. Yeah, no. I was probably, yeah, 19 or 20.
That's right. And you
Wow.
came in and you were, I mean, an energetic force. And by the way, remarkably talented. Like, you
Mm,
came in full of
thank you.
charisma and frenetic and, like, energy. I mean, like, you just felt like this. Your car
Yeah.
had a lot of fuel in the tank. It was like
Sure.
it was
A
a
live wire.
it was a live wire. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, it was unharnessed,
Yes, 1000%.
wildly
Wild,
unharnessed. But
raw.
you could do um you could do a great take of a scene.
Mm,
You know what I mean? You could do
sure.
a great take. You might not be able to do it again,
Yeah,
but
that's
you
right.
could do it. It was like, it wasn't gonna repeat.
That's right.
And you were kind of at the mercy of what you were feeling, and it was going all over the place. It was just all over. And I remember,
Yeah.
and what I also
Yeah.
remember, and I think maybe I said this to you, I may be misremembering.
Hmm.
I'm completely bald now. I actually had hair back then. And I remember,
I guess you
um,
did.
you had a great misfortune
Mm,
of, you presented as someone who was ready.
sure. Yeah.
You presented as someone who, like, we're gonna present, like, oh, she's ready to be on that show, because you were so striking.
Mhm.
and you were so striking, and you were in your voice,
Mhm.
and you just had a power, but it didn't match what was actually going on internally for you.
That's right.
And I
Yeah.
remember being like, and that's happened to me a few times where I become, yeah, I remember it happened also with, like, Ryan Garcia. Remember Ryan?
No.
He's one of the teachers at our studio. But there's a few
Oh,
people
yes.
where
Sorry, I love Brian.
you love Ryan. Yeah,
Mhm.
Ryan's gonna be very hurt. But, no, but there are certain people that I immediately fall in love with what I'm actually falling in love with what I know they'll become
Mhm.
versus,
Potential.
like, where they're actually at.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've become much better at it now, but I was younger, you know?
Mhm.
I was, like, 40,
Mhm.
or 30,
Just
something like I was, like, 40 years old. And I had we you had some and I remember do you remember our first consultation? Do you at all
I
remember what to
yeah. Yeah,
tell
I
me
do.
what
I re
happened?
I remember you told me that I kind of reminded you of Paula Patton, and you said that there's a lot of potential, a lot of energy. I mean, everything that you're saying. It's like that we just need to learn how to focus it, how to harness it,
How to channel it.
how to channel it. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
But then also, if I remember correctly, uh, you really had a tough time, understandably. I mean, who the hell comes here at 19 and 20 and has an easy time? But, like, you were learning how to be a
Person.
adult, a person in LA, like, it was, just keeping your life t
Y-
like, how do I create a structure in my
yeah.
world to be able to even to go after to be able to concentrate on acting when you're just trying to take care of, like, having a
Taxes.
taxes and a rent and a car that you don't smash, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Which I did.
You did, yes.
I did. I did smash the car. Um, like I it's funny. I think I forget, and even still now, like I always kind of knew that I wanted to try my hand at the entertainment industry, and that I wanted to act, and that I wanted to storytell, and it was really the only place that I could envision myself like having a life that I enjoyed, you know?
Mhm, mhm.
And so I kind of just ran at it full force without a plan, without, any kind of strategy. And I think you're right. It was one of those things where it's like doors would kind of open, and I was kind of running through like the middle of the room before I even really knew what room I was in. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Like, like I remember before I started going to you, I was taking class from this teacher, John Homa. And I went on an audition. It was probably like, I don't know, maybe like my fifth audition like ever. And it was for a series regular. And it was for NBC pilot. I think it was called Friends with Benefits.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I tested. Had no idea what a studio network test was really. But signed the Oh, I'm so sorry. Should we wait? My neighbors, can you hear that?
I can't hear anything.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. Um, sorry about that. Uh, so I, so I so I tested. I didn't know what a network test was. I went in, I didn't end up getting it, but, I think the casting directors, the only reason I got the test was because they called John to see, like, hey, she doesn't have anything on her resume. Is this should we test her? And he kind of, vouched for me. But the fact that, you know what I mean? I had no idea. And it was then when I was like signing my contract and saw what my quote would be, that I was like, oh, holy shit. Like, okay, got it. That's what we're doing here. That's how. But it was one of those things where I was in a room that I didn't even really know where I was, and just kind of doing the best that I could, you know?
What was it like for you? Because I know back then you needed that paycheck.
Oh my God.
What was it like seeing
Yeah.
that number? Did that screw you up at all, or were you able to just forget about it?
No, I think for sure that that totally got in my head where I was like, holy shit. That's how much money I could be making. And then from that point on, it was like kind of recognizing that that was possible
Yeah.
was so so exciting.
Well, so what
But
made you? So you were John Homa. What made you come to the studio?
I went and I auditioned for Law and Order Los Angeles, and Dylan Brander was the casting director, and
Love Dylan.
she's the one who sent me to you. She was like, I really think that there are some things that, like, you'll be great, but I forget exactly how she put it, but essentially she was saying like, you need some fine tuning. Go see John. And so
I was just with her last
that's
weekend.
really.
It was, yeah.
Is she still casting?
She became the senior vice president. She became the senior vice president of ABC Signature Casting.
Incredible. Oh my
Um,
God.
yeah, she definitely moved up the ladder. Yeah, but
Hmm.
she's really good. She's got a great eye. Um, well, I'm really grateful that she did, because I got to spend some time with you and be part of that period. Um, I But then I remember you're at the studio, you were running into some stuff. Uh, uh, you ran into
You know,
a few
a
obstacles.
few obstacles. Had a nice. Oh, here we go, and my roommate is home. Hey, baby girl. Um.
You,
Yes.
hi, Rumi.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Yes,
this is
this
our
is my
first.
old acting coach, John. That's Emily. I don't know if you can see her.
Hi, you're on a podcast. No, that's good. This is our first guest on a third guest. I love it. Um,
Exactly.
um, I remember those obstacles, and it was. Let me ask you, how did it, and all that stuff that you were going through, right, and all that stuff? Who did you? Who were you leaning on to kind of like find consistency?
I think I was leaning on my manager at the time. She was a big one.
Yeah,
She
used to talk about her.
gave me, oh my gosh, she was like um another mother figure for me. She believed in me like no one I had ever known, really. And yeah, she was the person that I really looked to and leaned on, and she let me.
She let you have.
Uh she paid for my so basically, everyone who's watching, I got a DUI when I was 21, and yeah, that comes with all sorts of fun stuff. So
Probably one of the better things that happened to you, though.
1000%. Like, I think, you know, how we were talking about that energy of just kind of going and running. It was something that forced me to stop and look at repercussions
Yeah.
and consequences and just slow down.
I'm sure I
Um,
told you this. Remember that I had crashed 2 cars before I turned 16?
I don't remember you telling me
Yeah,
this,
I
but
did. So I had
holy
so much empathy for you. I stole my mom's car twice. I'm still not a good driver, but I totaled her car when I was 15
fuck,
and,
man.
also ran some when I was 13. So I'm a slower learner than you.
Hmm, I was I would say maybe we're in the same
Okay.
class.
But you got that,
I
and
haven't
I remember.
I haven't gotten another one.
No, but I think it's a rite of passage. It's hard. I think God, coming it first of all, I don't think it's normal to be a child actor, even though I coach them. I don't
Mhm.
think that's you have to be a special kid to be able to to literally operate in the right way in that, but I would argue that a 21-year-old is a child actor,
Oh my
you
god,
know? Not
totally.
everyone
Well,
is Timothy
yeah.
Chalamet. Not every you
Yeah,
know what I mean? That he's a
or
that's a unicorn, and I think not everyone is,
Emma
Emma Ro
Roberts or,
not Em
Emma no, Emma,
I personally wouldn't put her in that category, but I would say, Harry what's his
no,
name? Harry Potter.
oh, yeah, that's I'm talking about
Yeah,
Hermione.
that also was a worldwide search. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where they're identifying that you have to be that person who can go to set and learn, and it's not about ego, and hopefully be healthy enough to be able to know how to experience it. But anyway, you got that, and
Mhm.
eventually, with a lot of trial and error, you found your ground. But what was your first, like, we all know I know that you ended up getting that will go I will go through your resume, but I know that you ended up getting, The Affair, which was
Was
huge,
it
and
the
what's that?
oh, yeah.
You got The Affair, which we'll talk about that, but then you end up and
Yeah,
then you've
no,
been
yeah.
on this is very interesting because you've been on your show, Chicago Fire for 10 years, so that's, like, an interesting chunk, but to arrive
Mhm,
at that place, um, what were some of the
mhm.
like, so what was the first thing that kind of served as, like, the runway to be like, "Okay, we're getting somewhere."
I think I went in and I auditioned for The Game on BET, and this was right after so I got my the DUI when I was, like, 21 turning 22. And after that, it was, like 2 years of, working 2 jobs, still going to auditions without a car, taking the bus
You
around
remember.
LA before
I had you
Uber.
intern for me.
Um, that's right. Yeah, I couldn't afford class and you were the best. You were like, come intern and that's what we'll do. And so that's how I took care of
Yeah.
classes. Um, but there came a point where I just I I figured I might as well go on unemployment and spend all of my time auditioning and really just commit to the bit and go for it. So that was in 2013, and it wasn't long after that I went in. I auditioned for The Game. I had a really good audition, and the casting director told me, she was like, "Listen, I'm you are probably not going to get this role, but we're going to call you back in. There's something else that I think you would be really great for." And that had never happened to me. So uh I remember that felt exciting. She kept to her word. I went in, I auditioned, and I ended up getting like a 5 episode arc on The
Yeah.
Game. And that was like my first experience, like on set, as really experiencing um television and what that what that culture is, what, just what it is to come and be working as an actor on a television show. And then not long after that, I think I got Pretty Little Liars after that. Um, and then I started getting more and more callbacks on regulars auditions.
You're a rare, you're like a unicorn a bit in that
Mm,
I was never worried about you regarding performing, like regarding the ability
mhm,
of your ability. You know what I mean? Of like, okay,
mm,
not think like there was no, she's not able to go to this place or she's not able to go to this place. Like you were, as far as acting goes, you have a certain born willingness to get uncomfortable.
mm,
You have a
mm,
willingness to go places, even if it's bad. Like I'm willing, which I think you have to in order to be good. You're just like, this may not work, but let's try this and let's try this. Obviously you need the shape and the story, but I think the place where I is for me and every actor, I'd say like, how can we not get in our own way? Regarding
right.
what we have to offer. I'm interested for you because I just think about my experience coming out to LA, but I was later. I was like late 20s and I went to grad school, went to New York. So I was able to hide in the theater world for a while, but I really struggled when I came out here. Um, I much different age, but I did a lot of self comparison. And I had a lot of
Mm,
worries like, "Oh god, my hair is thinning. Can I ever work?" And that would, like, consume me, and then
mm.
I'd book a job, and like, "My hair's fine." And then I'd not work. I was like, "It's because of my hair." You know? I like, all
Mhm.
these things, um, and as woman a woman of color, you know, what were some of the obstacles that you ran in? Like, I'm just wondering, like, what are the stories you would tell yourself that maybe didn't help? Or are you someone that was able just to, like, not give a fuck? Like, being like, "I'll be fine." Were you is you never seemed as I never watched you be in a even if you like, in my experience of you, when you would get self-conscious, you would speak to it, and then it would feel like you'd flush it out. But I'm wondering if there were any of, you didn't often sit in something for too long, but I'm just wondering what your experience was.
Yeah, I felt like there was this specific goal that I had. I really, really wanted to be a series regular, um, on like a successful television show. And I would journal about it and I would vision about it. And I kind of like program myself into just knowing that that was something that was going to happen. Like, and everything along the way was just kind of laying the groundwork for getting there, which is it's interesting. I don't feel that way about a lot of things
Yeah.
now. Like there's so much more uncertainty about all kinds of things, marriage, kids, things, like things that I deeply want in my heart, but it's like, oh, I don't know. Well, maybe it will, maybe it won't, but it's interesting for this. It was something that I really did just kind of like know, and it was like, well,
You'll be
yeah,
okay. I do remember
that's
I
gonna
don't know if
happen.
you remember this, but I know remember there were sometimes in class, even you as a very young person, you would sometimes listen to another actor go through some sort of event, and I watched you be like, "I'm
Mhm.
not gonna do that." You just watch it be like no, but you
Wow.
kind of had a thought of like you were there for the person, you'd watch it and go and just like not
Hmm.
you would never take it on, but I think you did learn like, "Okay, that's not helpful." That's
Yeah.
not useful.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting in class, I think a lot of people, yeah, would kind of obsess over things that were out of their
Yeah.
control, you know? And I think that was something that I felt relatively comfortable in, where it was like, I don't know how that's going to work out. I don't need to know how that's going to work out. I just know it's going to work out.
Where do you think that came from? Is that just is that just something, a genetic gift? No, no, but I'm wondering, because that's a point of
um
view. I have a question. How No,
okay.
it's really interesting. We did a podcast a few weeks ago, and someone, with Brooke Nevin, and the idea of resilience came up.
Mm,
And she said about me, she's like, "John, you're so," but she's very resilient. There was one pilot season where she tested for 10 things, did not get any of them.
holy.
But every time she'd come to class after not testing, she'd be like, "I got a new one tomorrow." But she wasn't carrying around any weight.
Yeah,
And that was not
baggage.
me. If
Yeah.
I tested for something and didn't get it, it was like depression for 2 months, is stories. And we were
Yeah.
talking about, like, I've always been an incredibly, not in a great way, self-reflective.
Sure,
And she
sure.
was saying, "I'm
Which
not
is what
self-reflective.
makes
I'm
you.
not that self-reflective." Like, I may be for a second, but then I'm like, and I'm done. What is
Mhm.
your degree of self-reflection?
I feel like I've gotten more
But back then,
self-reflective
so much less.
over the year. Oh my god. Yeah,
That's
no.
what it
It was
is.
like, yeah, it's like we're okay, and we're on to the next thing. Yeah, it's not like there was like something to. I even remember after after getting out of jail for my DUI, right? I had roommates at the time. And when I got arrested, I had met someone in the drunk tank who was actually a very powerful, I think they were like the vice president somewhere for casting. I don't want to say, because we made a pact that I would never say who they were or how this came about. But like, I ended up getting called into their office and I got an audition after, because yes. And so I remember leaving, like getting home after being in jail and talking to my roommates and being like, "Well, I actually think it was a really positive experience because of," and they were like, "No, Miranda, no. This is not, no, it wasn't. You need to focus and recognize that this was not good." But that just wasn't how I process. It was like, okay, that happened and this is what was good about it and this is what was good about it and this is what was good about it and we're moving forward.
Wow.
I know. I know. I think actually that's a really interesting sentiment, that being too self-reflective can actually just be a vehicle through which you get in your own
Well, you could
way.
say that
Cuz
self-reflection means you're living in yesterday.
mm,
You're living in what just happened, and then
yeah,
you're at the expense of the moment. And,
sure.
I wish I've gotten much better at it, but I don't think I'll ever be as good. It's part of who you are. You just know, but I do think each person, no, I do think everybody needs to know where they sit in that, where they are on that spectrum, because it helps you just go,
Mhm.
okay, I am a highly reflective person that often is an obstacle. I need to figure out, I got to move through this, you know?
Right.
And
Right.
it takes a lot of awareness and, and I don't know, I would say a commitment to to work yourself out of it. You know what I mean? It's so easy just to marinate
Mhm.
in that. but that has never that's what it is about I will say about you, is you are not, typically a marinator, like, when we
A
yeah, you're not a marinator,
marinator.
but you were funny that you said today, like, when we first met today, you said, "I'm g I'm feeling a little melancholy today." You know what I mean?
Melancholy.
And,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you move through it.
hmm Yeah. I think it's interesting. Something that I'm growing through is giving myself more intentional space to kind of process emotionally whatever it is that I might be carrying, because I think that when I was younger it was a lot easier to authentically drop whatever, whatever discomfort might have happened in an experience, to be able to just say, okay, I'm not keeping this, I'm not keeping this, but I'm going to keep the good stuff and really authentically drop it. But I think that as I've gotten older, like, I'm not actually dropping it, I'm just
I
moving
guess, yeah.
forward, and I think that, yeah, so it's important for me lately to, like, set aside time to feel my feelings, so that, especially for work, so that it's like I can show up in a space where I'm actually present and there's not the static of the things that are
What I'm hearing, though, is,
unprocessed,
like, the things probably it's harder to drop now because the things that are creating that melancholy or ambient noise are really not about career. It's about life.
Totally.
And I think there are things that you seek
Yeah.
in life that you aspire to right now that have nothing to do with work. And back in the
Mhm.
day, your
Mhm.
concerns were pretty it was all
It
just
was
this and those
all
that was
it
going
was
fine. So you could do that. It could not linger. But then all of a sudden when you have all these other
Mhm.
wants, and you get
Mhm.
older, more shit happens. Do you ever feel this way? I
Mhm.
sometimes I hear, and this is not to be at all, I'm not making fun in any way, but sometimes I'll watch an actor come to class and like there's one like they'll come to class and every week there's like, I'm just really sad because my cat's sick. And then the next week this happened. And then the next week it's this happened. And then sometimes it'll be like, do you notice how every week, each thing is such an event in your life? I go, this is life. Life is
Yeah.
like it's never it's like
Yes.
whatever you want it to be, this like chaos-free enterprise, it will
Mhm.
not be. And also, it's affecting their acting because they're not realizing that what usually we're acting, it's supposed to imitate life. That's why you're
Right.
turning every event into
Right.
such an event, just like you're doing in your own
Yeah.
life, you know?
Yes. Yes.
And that's
Interesting.
probably
Right.
also why you were so good early on is
Mm.
because you were a lot of 21-year-olds are like, make such a big deal of a scene of an event, but you were already kind
Mhm.
of conditioned to kind
Yeah.
of like normalize it, which is why you appeared
Right.
older, why people would witness you as older than you actually were until they actually
Right.
saw you in real life. And they're like, "Oh, she's just a 20-year-old who's just all over the place right now. Has no
And has
idea
no
yet."
idea. That's why I lost the affair. So, do you remember this story?
Yes, I
They
do.
booked me.
You were supposed to be Joshua
Yes.
Jackson's love
So,
interest, right?
that's right. That's right. And they booked me, and I showed up. I think I was on hold for
Mhm.
7 episodes, and I showed up. I shot one scene with him. That's all that we were, slated to shoot that
I
day.
remember
Uh,
this.
So, and they shot in New York. So, flew out to New York, shot the scene. They flew me back. And then, we were waiting and waiting for the next scripts to come. They never came. And then eventually I got a phone call from Sarah Treem saying, thank you so much. It has nothing to do with, your ability. Just you look way too young for the story that we're trying to tell. And it was at the same time I had auditioned for La La Land and I had gotten a call back and I had a director session with Damien Chazelle and he was great and it went great. And uh apparently they were kind of looking at my availability
You
for the
lost it.
movie, but I lost it because I was doing the affair, but then I lost the affair. And so that was probably one of the
Mhm.
hardest times to just kind of take a deep breath and keep moving forward, you know? Um like it's so funny. I still haven't seen La La Land, which is so,
It's okay.
it's
No, no,
immature, but it's emotional.
no. I won't say, but there are a
But
couple of movies I've not watched for a variety of reasons. Yeah, sometimes there's just an emotional, like, I don't need to. It'll stir something.
I bet I loved that script though. I thought that was, oh my god, I loved that script.
But so
Um
that knocked
but
the wind out of your sails for a beat. Yeah, not very
for a
long.
beat, for a little bit.
No.
Not very long though. It was just kind of like, okay, well, I guess this isn't the thing. Um
And by the way, I bet you did
and
look too young next
the
to him. What
Yeah,
I mean,
I think so. Well, and they ended up hiring, oh, I forget her name. She was fantastic. But yeah, I think she was in her
oh,
mid
speaking
to
of
late
Dylan Brander, I
30s.
remember years ago, do you remember there was a pilot called Life? The Life,
Mm-mm.
Damian Lewis, and I'll never forget, like, I auditioned for this role. I was so proud of this audition. It was just for a guest star in the pilot, but it was a great part. And I remember leaving it and I was like, I booked that thing. And, I had the pin in me, and I'll never forget, Dylan
Mhm.
Brander, casting director, called me up. She's like, "Oh my god, I'm so excited." Yeah, so they just like, "We just have to find your wife." And I remember the wife's part was
Oh,
even
fuck.
harder than my part. And I remember thinking, "Oh,
Yeah.
Lord, they're gonna have a tough time finding my wife who's, like, gonna be my age." Like, it was, like, 30s. Because I was like, "This part is someone that has to have
Mhm.
been through it." And, like, I'm like, "They're gonna find someone in her 50s, and she's more important than me." And Dylan would ca and
Right,
Dylan
and
really
that's what
was calling me
happened.
going like, "We're trying to find John, hold," but initially she's like, "We're gonna get it. You're gonna get it 100%." And then I remember I was like, "I don't know. You're asking a lot of a 30-year-old woman to go through right here. Like, this is like, I don't care how good she is, like, this
Right.
woman has to like, our daughter was killed, and it was like
I've
all these stories. It was
lived.
like so much." And, then I remember 3 weeks later, I got the call from Dylan. "We're releasing you. We couldn't find her. We found her." And it would just
Fuck.
like the story would be how you married a much older woman, and that can't be the story for a guest star. But that got me. That definitely got me. And again, for me, just a
Mm,
guest star, just a
mhm.
guest star. That knocked the wind out of my sails. So good for you for
Right.
being resilient.
Yeah. 'Cause
You're
you're
invested.
invested. You were
Um,
invested.
okay,
Yeah.
so you did that. You off that. Then we were off. The fair's done, and then you go and do Chicago Fire.
Yeah, and that wasn't that
No,
long after, yeah, that I booked that. And
did you have any idea? Did you
I
have
mean,
any
I
idea this
remember,
would be this long of a gig?
no, no, no. I remember I was nervous, like Well, first of all, it was crazy because, you know, it was
Mhm.
for recurring.
Oh, were you recurring season
And
1?
yeah, yeah. I think I was supposed to have, I think they had me for the rest of the season. So I went in, I think it was like episode 15 out of 22.
Mhm.
So I had 7. I had 7 episodes and that's all I was, you know, contracted to, with an option for a regular. But like I booked it on a Monday and flew out on a Wednesday to shoot on a Friday. And they told me like, all right, so, and it was January, so they were like, okay, get ready, you'll probably be there till April. And that was that, which is so funny. It's like, it makes sense. That was the pace that I think I was used to moving at
Right.
myself, you know? Like it was a match for
Yeah.
like, I was like, okay, I can do this. And I think that's part of, um I think there are so many reasons why I am lucky enough
Mhm.
to have been on the show, you know? And luck is a big is a big one. Um, but I think another one is the pace of television, the pace of network TV of a 22 to 25. It's so fast.
I have God, I have so many questions about this, and I'm excited to ask. It's really
Mhm,
interesting that it's every actor's dream, right? Usually.
mhm,
I'd say for 98% of actors, like the dream is like consistent work, to have enough money to where you can do what you want. I can buy a home. I can uh, not
yes.
worry about that. Um,
Mhm,
I get to act every day, right? But and
mhm,
you've seen a lot of people at the studio go on to do great things and work consistently. Booking a job isn't always all it's cracked up to be. It does not fill the voids that people are hoping it will. You know what I mean? I've actually watched one thing I always think to
yeah,
myself when I look at people, um, what kind of person
mhm,
would you be if you booked that big show? And there's some people I'm like, and I've been accurate, it's
mhm,
been like, you will be a nightmare. And I will tell them, like, I
yeah.
worry about you. You know what I mean? I would never worried about you. No, but seriously, I'm not gonna ever need, but I really worry because I'm just
No.
like, it's gonna feed an ego, and that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, and it's hard. That's a hard journey,
Yeah.
like the fall from grace, like the inevitable, you know what I mean? And for it to be so public, and it's, I don't know, it's an ugly thing when you see that, like the feeding of the ego, the engorging of the ego, the self-importance. And it's also tough because it's
I'm
none of
sure
it's
you've witnessed
real.
it from people.
It's mm, I will say, on our show, that's one thing that I've just been so lucky in so many ways. But
It's
we really don't have any
and you're such
assholes.
an
I mean,
ensemble show,
like,
it would be quite insane. Yeah, that would be quite a problem if someone did.
n- none of the leaders on our show. I mean, we had,
Mhm.
Eamon Walker was our chief for the longest, who, I mean, that man is just like a heart, just a walking heart with legs.
Mhm.
Same David Eigenberg, like, Taylor Kinney. These are all men who just
Yeah.
care so much about people. And um but I think a big reason why I have not completely spun out
Surrounded.
is because I'm
God, that's
surrounded. Those are my
um,
examples, you know?
but I'm sure. So, how long did the honeymoon period? Like when you're just excited to be working, you're just like, I get to show up to set, and you are an
Yeah.
acting geek. Oh, wait, and a question: how much training did you have to go through regarding being a firefighter?
Oh,
Like,
firefighter?
are they trying to make sure it's as authentic
Like
as humanly possible?
they for sure. And, I went in
Yeah,
season 4. S- So, our technical supervisor, Steve Chikarotis, who was like, by the time he retired, he was the deputy district chief. He controlled over 30 firehouses, were kind of under um
mhm,
his responsibility. He's probably, I mean, like, going anywhere in Chicago with that man, like, you can't go anywhere. It's
he's
like,
loved.
chick, chick. Like,
Yeah,
he is beloved. Beloved. But he took time with me. I did, yeah, it's, you have to learn about the gear, the tank, what it's like to, be in the
sure.
self-contained breathing apparatus. I probably did I did like 2 sessions um with Chick, and then I went and I stayed over at an actual firehouse. I did a ride along with one of our series regulars. Is also, he is now retired,
Okay.
but he was on the job at the time. But that was it. And then you're just surrounded. We have fire safety officers
Mhm.
on set with us, and you're just kind of surrounded by firefighters all the time. I still, throughout the years, David goes to
Mhm.
this fire college every year. It's called IFSI, the Illinois Fire Service Institute, and they do a free college every year for all of the kind of surrounding
Mhm.
area volunteer firefighters. So I've gone to that, I think, 4 times. And every time someone new kind of comes on truck, like, I'll go and,
Sure.
kind of go through and see what training they're doing. But like, there's a lot of stuff you're learning on the day.
How many showrunners have you gone through in the show?
2.
Just 2. That's amazing. Do you have any agency or, like, do you get input about your character or anything like that?
Oh,
No.
about my character? Yeah,
Yeah.
somewhat, but ultimately it's no. I mean, it's their vision for sure. I think that they that's part of what they do is they write for you and
Yeah.
what they see. But yeah, for the most part, there's a there's a vision, there's a trajectory, and we all kind of, we hop on board and ride that train.
I have a question. This is we can edit it out if you want me to,
Okay.
but no, I'd like to know. No, it's back in the day, like, let's say when I started with you many, many years ago,
Hmm.
you book a network show, everyone's watching. Like, people are watching. When I did ER in 1998, 30 million people watched it.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, what is the vibe right now with network TV?
Like, it's not 30 million. Like, it's not, I mean, it's interesting because being in Chicago, people love the shows. People love the Chicago shows.
Do
So,
people recognize you on the street all the time?
I
They call you?
listen, yeah, Stella.
I love that. That's great.
It's great. It's really great. Yeah, and back in the day, like probably like my 3rd or 4th season in, I mean, I remember there was a fan convention in Paris that a bunch of us went and did, from the different shows, and then we went and we were traveling around, Europe after the convention, and I remember I went and I was touring the Coliseum. I think there were like maybe 3 or 4 of us in our group, and we're like, on Instagram, and we're, posting to our stories, the Coliseum, it's so cool. And by the time that we were done and went outside to leave, there was like a handful of young girls and guys like running towards us, like, we saw you were at the Coliseum. Just will you please take a picture with us? Like, I remember that trip, like traveling all over, people all over the world, watch these shows,
Yeah.
you know. And it's incredible. It's hard for me to fully wrap my head around,
Yeah.
um but it's pretty incredible. I think obviously is network television is not what it was, you know 10, even 5 years ago, but I think people are still watching our shows and are still watching, especially like Dick Wolf, Law and
Yeah.
Order, like those. I think anybody who's worked on a Wolf show, like those residuals, you're like, that's not nothing.
No. No, not nothing at all. And you guys for this season, how many episodes are you guys doing?
21.
Oh my god.
I
It
mean,
just doesn't exist anymore.
I know. Like we are beyond fortunate. I don't even know, like that. I've used that word so much that
No.
it doesn't fully encapsulate like how lucky it is.
You built so it's basically made Chicago your hometown.
Mm-hmm.
Do you intend to stay there?
So funny. I was just talking to a friend about this. I For a lot of reasons, I think Chicago is a great place to be, like even with, global warming, like fresh water source, Lake Michigan. That's gonna be important, I think,
Yes.
in within the next, 10, 5 to 10 years. But I have always been curious about New York. I've always
Mm.
wanted to do a New York chapter. I love theater so much. Um and Chicago has an incredible theater community that I'm tapping into more and more. But I would love to go to New York for at least a year.
You gotta do that.
Mm.
You gotta do that. Are you how o I are you how often are you auditioning? Are you still auditioning?
Like, I mean, not that often.
No.
Maybe a handful a year,
Are
I
you
would
like
say.
are you one of those people who's like, "I wanna do something with my hiatus. I wanna do something with my hiatus." Like,
I have been, not always. I
yeah.
think for the first like 5 years, I was like,
Mm,
absolutely not. I'm traveling. Like, I don't know when again I'm gonna have the opportunity to know that I have a job to come back to,
yeah.
So for the first 5 years, I traveled. I went to see my family. I didn't do anything. But recently, like I did a short.
Yeah. Oh, you did it!
I did it. I gotta send it to you. I gotta send
I
it to
can't
you.
wait to see it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts.
Okay.
Um, and then there's another one that same team um is looking to do, I think, over the winter. It's actually looking like we've submitted the short to Sundance, and the goal, the hope is that we kind of use that as a proof of concept, get
to
funding
for a feature.
for a feature, and then shoot the feature um next year. So like that's the vision. But all that being said, lately, yes, I've been wanting to do something over hiatus and
Okay.
loving it.
Well, as we begin to wind down, are you, if you could, I all the time, I would love your perspective. What, let's say you were visiting class, which you were supposed to do, but you couldn't come because you had other things to go, and you're
It's
having
gonna happen.
someone, I know, but you're giving some advice to some youngins, you know,
Mm-hmm.
um, everything I do is trying, I'm trying to get people, you know, because you don't know what you don't know. You know what I mean? And it's the figuring it out that sometimes is overwhelming. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Just even understanding the geography of this industry, what advice would you give?
I would I would advise young actors to get really honest and clear about the things that make them feel authentically fulfilled and in authentic pleasure. Um, Simple things like like what kind of ice cream do you fucking love? Like what kind of movies, what kind of, and to really create ritual, regular ritual around those things. Um, and to be feeding your spirit on a regular basis, because your career, whatever project you're working on, whatever job, like those things are fleeting, but knowing who you are to the core of you and knowing what things bring you deep, fulfilling joy,
Mhm.
that work is going to sustain you throughout your life. And I think that's also a practice of fostering intimacy within yourself. And I think that that's the work. Knowing who you are, loving who you are, nurturing and caring for yourself. Like I think that makes you a better person. It makes you a better partner, whether that's romantic, friendship, scene, like just knowing how to be connected and how to be like in pleasure, like in pleasurable connection with yourself.
I love that. It's actually honoring what you actually feel and what you actually think rather than thinking, this is what I should think. This is what I should feel. Whew.
Yeah, because I think I know for me that's been my biggest, my like my big growth edge. Because I think as actors we're applauded and we're rewarded sometimes when we totally go against what we're authentically feeling, what we're authentically
Mm.
going through, and able to um, create something outside of that. Like I think that, you know, if I can, I think, yeah, I'm trying to think of the best way to.
You mean
Do
you
you get what I'm
sometimes
saying?
sometimes we get rewarded for stuff that maybe isn't really helping us?
Exactly. We get rewarded for um um doing things that yeah, exactly. It may not be best for me, but it's great for the project. It's great for the craft. It's great for the you know what I mean?
I think that encapsulates you really well, though. I think you have been you have always been in the Miranda lane. No, meaning like it
It's
hasn't felt
true.
like you're like, God, I was supposed to, oh no, I'm in the wrong lane. You're like, no, I'm in this lane.
Mm.
Sometimes the lane's going through some rocky mountains, but like it's my lane. You know what I mean?
And I've got to drive it.
But I gotta drive it. It's my lane. This is where the lane took me. So I gotta travel it, you know? But I think that's a really big thing right now. And especially with all the ambient noise in the world and the self comparison or what am I doing? What's the right version of the scene? What's the right? And I think it really does just start with what do you actually like? Something so simple
Yeah.
of, of, and it's also and it's interesting because you as an actor, you're it's like, I've always appreciated this about you. You're not a typecast person.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's not like,
Like
"Oh, you're the"
no.
like, I can't even do
N-
it right now. Like, I'm like,
no.
"You're the" but I think that when you're acting the right too often, it's like we sit there like, sometimes you get these actors who take these business class, like, typecast me. By the way, if you're lucky enough to get typecast, then mazel tov.
Beautiful.
Take that mon
Exactly.
take that money and run with it. But I believe
Yes.
at the end of the day, if you're doing it the right way, yes, take those jobs, but then what you really want to express begins to emerge. And then you're like,
Mm.
you know what what my everything in my being and my experience is leading me to is to take on this.
Mhm.
And usually, if that's authentic to your being, if that's an honest expression of something that interests you, I bet you it will work. You know what I mean? And then the world will begin to see you that way of like, I'm actually this.
Yeah.
I don't think Daniel Craig woke up and said, I'm Bond.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But he was such a great Bond,
Mhm.
and I think that was from just being a lovely actor,
Right.
where something created like, "Oh, I think I could explore this. This is exciting to me."
Yeah. Like I think more and more I just am like I want to watch people who are having a good time. Like who are enjoying what it is that they're doing even if it's really hard.
Yeah,
Like and I think that people want to work
yeah.
with other people who are there from a place of enthusiasm and from a place of curiosity and who like you know they're there because they want to be um which I'm sure most of your students it's like that's that's why you're in class
Yeah.
but just to remember even just on a basic foundational level just getting into a ritual of like honoring yourself and treating yourself and caring for yourself and knowing what your perspective is.
Well, this has been a treat. We did it. We did it.
We did it.
I think the video worked.
Good.
One day I'm gonna get you in person.
Yeah, honestly, I have a couple episodes off this year. So I will be in LA and I will be letting you know cuz I would love it. I would freaking love to be in your class again.
Alright. Well, it's so good to see you.
I love seeing you too.
Alright, we're gonna talk real soon, and, I'm just so happy for you. This is great, and I again, I think that it's gonna be really interesting to see where you are in a few years. It feels like you are on a life journey right now. Right now, it's Miranda, the civilian, who's
Mhm.
evolving.
Yeah. There are shifts and things happening as a human. But yes, thank you for having me.
Right. Yay!
Yay!